Welcome to the Horizons Artist Showcase, presented by the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless and the Adler University. I am Edrika Fulford, a grassroots leader with the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless. I am honored and privileged to be your MC for the program tonight. First up, we have the president of the American Writers Museum, Carrie Cranston.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing tonight? Well, we're glad you're here. This is our second year hosting this program, and we're very thrilled to do it. This museum is about celebrating writing in all of its various forms and all the different places it comes from. So what you guys have done in this program is a big part of that, and so we're glad to be able to host this and have you celebrate your accomplishments here tonight in this program. So I'm just really here to say we're glad you're here. We hope that while you're here tonight, you get a chance to walk around, engage with the museum. Everything here is interactive, meant to be touched and turned and have some fun with. I know a lot of you have kids here tonight, and so we have in our children's gallery up in the front, we have activities and things for the kids to do in case they don't want to listen to every part of the exhibit or every part of the program. There are some comic books up there the kids can take home. There are some little books the kids can take home and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Again, we're really thrilled to be able to work with the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless on this, and we think it's wonderful every time people write. They get the opportunity to tell their own story, to write their own narrative. And we have an exhibit here on Frederick Douglass that's ending. It's been up for about a year now, and it's a prime example of someone who learned to write, who wasn't even allowed to write, and he used that as an opportunity to change his life, to write his own story, to create his own narrative. And so we think that that's why this program is so important. So we're glad we're able to host it, and thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, President Cranston. The Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, lovingly referred to as CCH, organizes and advocates to prevent and end homelessness based on the belief that housing is a human right in a just society. Advocacy is at its core, its expression, representing both the need for change and the vision for the future. Our creative words as human, in some ways, are our advocacy as well. The Horizons Artist Showcase allows individuals to creatively express and share those places within them with all of us. I'd like to bring up the chairman of the Art Therapy Department at Adler University, Dr. Jennifer Savida. Sorry if I butchered it.
Hi, I'll say I'm Dr. Jennifer Savida. It's a hard last name. I'm a professor and department chairperson of the Master of Arts in Counseling Art Therapy and the PhD in Art Therapy at Adler University, which is just a few blocks away. So writing poetry, reading poetry aloud, journaling, making art, doing expressive dance, playing an instrument, and doing so in public can make a person feel very vulnerable, embarrassed sometimes, and uncomfortable. So at the same time, doing these may bring much joy, enlightenment, insight, and growth. So the arts are so vital to our well-being. For my students and me, reading your poetry is an honor, and making what we call empathic art responses for each poem was also a privilege. One of my PhD students, who works at Mercy Housing, read your poems, of course we kept them anonymous, to her art therapy group. And her group, also dealing with housing issues, was deeply moved by your poems and made art in response to them. So their art pieces are also here today. In fact, they've continued to ask for more poems from you so that they can create art to give back, which I think is a really neat thing. So this certainly is a lovely tradition, and I always look forward to this night. And my students say hello. Many of my 110 students work and go to school and are working often late hours. So even though they could not attend, they all wish each and every one of you all good things. So this is their art, albeit small, it is meaningful and heartfelt. It's our hope that each of you go home with a small piece of the artwork, and we'll give directives afterward so that there's enough that each one of you can go home with something. To serve as a reminder to express yourself through the power of the pen, the pencil, the paintbrush. Whether you write, draw, doodle, or dream, express yourself in a positive way. Just remember to always have the courage to create. Thank you.
Thank you, President La Savida. Our program tonight is comprised of grassroots leaders who are the driving force behind our signature campaign, Bring Chicago Home. Yeah! What you can expect tonight is to hear from the leaders who will share their struggles, thoughts, hopes, dreams, and faith. A bit of housekeeping. Some general rules are: respect others when they are speaking. Recognize that you are in a museum. The American Writers Museum has graciously allowed us to use their space. There's, of course, no smoking. Bathrooms are located there. Trash receptacles are located. Let's use them. Let's leave this place even more beautiful than when we found it. At the end of the performances, we will award a prize for the first and second place winners. This will be done by audience participation. The performance that receives the most applause will receive first and second place. Recognize and remember that your favorite performances so that you can vote for them later. You can put their names in your phones, or jot them down on a piece of paper. If you need paper or pen, let me know. Only people checked in, by the way, can be a part of this contest. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. Anyone who is not registered and wants to be, and wants to speak, and be eligible for the prize, see Wayne Richard now. After the awards have been presented, we will have a short time for open mic. Any brave soul who wants to speak, this is your shot. All right, well, ready to get started? Yeah. All right. Now, any questions first? All right, let's go. First off, we have Nate. And I have a list of fun facts, or interesting facts, should I say, about each participant. Nate is the son of one of our grassroots leaders. Did you know that in 2015, Nate suffered a broken leg after a hit-and-run accident? 6 months after the accident, Nate participated in the Special Olympics, where he won medals in shot put, track, basketball, soccer, football, tennis, and hockey. Nate? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, now Miss Erika said everything I did. Yes, it's true what happened to me, because I was having my mother. She wanted to do some errands, and then I looked both ways, and then make sure my car drive by, but I know where I see a car waiting over. I got 3 broken legs, one my ankle, my knee, ankle, and right here. And I got a big on my forehead.
Well, he's finna perform sign language from
We Are the War.
Okay.
I hope y'all like it. Ooh, sorry. Long time it's good to jump. Okay. Yep.
There comes a time when we heed a certain
the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. It's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's yours to make a better day. Just you and me. The world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. It's the choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's yours to make a better day. Just you and me. Come on. Of the world.
Everybody,
We are the children. We are the ones making brighter day. So let's start giving. It's our choice we're making. We're saving our whole lives. It's you to make a better day. Just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. That's the choice that we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's you to make a brighter day. Just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a better day. So let's start giving. The choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's you to make a better day. Just you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nate. His mother is next. Her name is Catherine. Catherine is the oldest of 6 siblings. She used to be extremely shy about public speaking, but today she chaired her very first meeting as a grassroots leader. Catherine recently became engaged and is eagerly looking forward to planning her wedding.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm a grassroots lead for CCH. First, let me say, well, give it up to 2019. Everybody that got kids that's graduating this year, whatever, give it up to them, because they stay give for them to shine. Give it up to all kids 2019. I would like to do a poem. Oh, it's hot. Okay. When you look at me, do you have any idea who you see? Because when I look at myself, the image is very blank. I know I am a mom, a sister, a wife. But when I look at myself in the mirror, the image is still blank. I know I have something inside, I know I have something inside, cause when I help, I help even when I can. If I can't see my image trying to come out and see more to me than this blank image I see. That's it.
Thank you, Catherine and Nate. Next, we have another family, Marguerite and Mariah, mother and daughter. Mariah likes to dance, and Marguerite is currently enrolled in Kennedy King College.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm with CCH. I'm a kindergarten for my GED, trying to finish school, even though I stopped at 10th, but I'm back in school. I want to do a poem about me and my daughter when we was homeless. Where did she go? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I wrote this poem for me and my daughter when I was out there in the streets when she was a baby. She's 10 now. Me and my baby, Mariah, living in the park, homeless. I was sleeping on the bench in the park, and Mariah and her stroller sleeping. We became homeless ever since I lost my mom in the year of 1991. I didn't have nobody to turn to. I felt really bad about it, and I was trying to protect my baby from strangers. This man had walked up to me and asked me, was I all right? I said no, because I don't have no place to go with my baby. At that moment, I was feeling real bad because being homeless with my child. At this moment, I'm still homeless. My baby is getting older. I want to be there for her every step of the way. I don't want her to be going places to place and going school to school, different schools. She's been in 7 schools since we've been homeless. I don't want to be homeless forever. I need a home now. This is a poem I wrote for me and my daughter, Mariah Bam. And thank you very much. Come on, I help. You got it, come on. I help. My daughter a little shy, but her mama's gonna help her because I love her.
I want to dedicate this poem to my mom. You held me tight through the cold nights, place to place we go, school to school I go. Even though we're homeless, you still put up with all my mess. I love you.
That's my daughter. Thank y'all very much.
That was beautiful. Next we'll have Bridget. Bridget? Bridget is a hairstylist that changes her hair quite often. It was just yellow last week. She has 5 children and 9 grandchildren. All right, Bridget.
Hello, everyone. Yes, it's true. I have, actually I had 6 children. In 2016, my daughter was 22 years old and she suffered a seizure and passed on. And I have 9 grandchildren, yes, I do. So I'm gonna read this piece that was given to me by Mexico. Survival of fitness. Homeless, no place to call home. Feeling down and useless. I'm nervous. We have lost all hope. Every door is closed and locked. How can we open these doors? We can see it now. There in the darkness, an angel appeared. Thankful for an angel. Angel came as she heard our cries. The angel said, just because you're homeless doesn't mean that you are not a survivor. We exhale. Finally, we can breathe with dignity, thanks to the compassion we were shown. Just because we are homeless, we are still human. Homeless is a situation in our past. Society shut the doors, but an angel unlocked the doors. So tired from the battle, so thankful we made it through. Homeless, no more. We have our own home now. We made it through the hard journey of homelessness. With our scars, we triumph. Because we have faith, we are willing to endure, and we wanted to survive. Because we survived. We are the champions, the true survival of the fittest. Now, the few words I want to say also, I can also relate to this poem actually, due to the fact that I stayed in a home for 5 years, paying rent to someone that wasn't even an owner. My daughter died in my room on my floor, and I still had to stay in that home until I met someone that believed in me, and she helped me through it. Thank you, Bismarck.
We'll now have Wayne Richard, Director of Organizing for the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless.
Hey, everybody. I just want to thank folks for coming out, and I wanted to mention to folks that every year is part of the collaboration that we do with Adler, and for our grassroots leaders who so courageously come out and share their work, we create a booklet that encompasses both their poem and their artwork. And it happens every year. And we produce it in our office. So we have some copies here. We are non-for-profit, so we do have some limited resources. However, this is a book that was beautifully created by the intern that graciously wanted to work with our organization this year, Julie Miller, and I just want to give Julie credit and recognition for the beautiful design of this booklet. She's right over here. And she also has copies of the booklet. They are in limited supply, so if you happen to see Julie and they're out, the Associate Director of Organizing, Mr. Nicholas Jefferson, is in the back there. Nick, if you can raise your hand. And all right. And thanks, Nick. He can take some information from you. We can get a booklet to you electronically or such. We can find a method that works the best for you. Okay. In the interim, Julie does have some booklets, so please avail yourself after the program if you'd like one. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Trigger.
Next up, we'll have Kalia Phillips. Kelly. Also known as Kelly. You'll be surprised that although Kelly seems really mean, she really loves helping people, and she got that from her grandmother.
Yes, I totally agree. Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kalia L. Phillips. Well, we're gonna go in here with Kales. All right. I want to describe my homelessness with me and my children. Getting up at 5:30 in the morning from a shelter, trying to get ready, 3 kids, plus myself being pregnant. My 2 teenage daughters fighting over who's going to go in the shower first and who's going to wear each other's shoes. Trying to find my youngest son, his shoes, and it was very hard because he didn't know his colors at the time. Running downstairs from my room out the door, just trying to catch the 95th Red Line train to take my 3 kids to 2 different schools and a daycare, and myself to Howard Area Community Center on Howard Street to my GED class. Sitting on the 95th Red Line train for 2 hours, our breakfast was protein bars and milk because the shelter I was at wouldn't let us cook till 7 a.m. While my kids are sound asleep on the train, I'm busy trying to stay woke and study for my test that I was going to have at 9 a.m. While total strangers are looking at me and my kids thinking to themselves, what's really going on at 6:30 in the morning? I'm giving them a mean mug look, like try it if you want to. It's too early in the morning. Then I switched from the Red Line train to the 29th Street bus, and then I'm riding on the bus all the way to 28th Estate. I kiss my 2 teenage daughters goodbye while they start to race to school because they're actually late for class. I'm still on the train trying to stay woke, and I get up on 50th and Wabash trying to drop off my son at daycare and then run right back out the door.
I'm running, trying to catch the 29th State Street bus to go back up north. It was a struggle because I was like 6 months pregnant, and it was very, very hard at the time. And I was high risk, and I wasn't supposed to do any of this, but I had to go get my education over the kids. Switching from the red line to the purple line and trying to be at my class by 9 o'clock was very difficult because the struggle was real. The trains were taking a very long time because a person had jumped the track. I walked into my class at 8:58, 2 minutes to spare before my test. I'm thinking to myself, when is it going to end? How long is it going to take for me to get a place of my own for my kids to lay their head? After a year and a half at Madonna's House Shelter, I was blessed to get a 5-bedroom apartment where I had no more of getting up super early at 5:30 in the morning, no more spending a couple of hours with my family members, and my daughters were able to have a slumber party at their own home and know that they could rest their head. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kelly. The next person we'll have is Tom. Tom. I call Tom TG. He is better known as the mayor of Uptown. Tom is fighting for housing, for not only for himself, but for everyone who needs it.
Piece I wrote, why housing is so important to me. I want to get off the street. There are things you can do when you have housing compared to what you don't have housing. I really want to be able to take a shower or take a bath or cook when I want to. Things that most people take for granted. I want to relax like most people do. Living on the street is hard because my meals are always cold. If I want to wash up, I must go to the lake to do so. When I sleep in a sleeping bag. When it rains, I get wet. When it snows, I get cold. And when I am going through this, all I can think about is being housed. This is not something I want just for myself. Every human being has the right to be housed. And this is why Bring Chicago Home is so important to me and many others. Thank you.
All right, John. Next up is Juanita. Juanita says she's goofy and likes to make people laugh.
Good evening. First off, I'm just gonna let everybody know this is my first time speaking in front of a crowd. I didn't even know I was gonna do a poem today, but here we go. All right, this is one that I wrote for the Black Lives Matter movement. And I also got one special for you guys too. Together we stand, divided we fall. We once believed in it all. Have we fallen? What's really going on? Every day it's a different struggle. Every hour it's a different brother. On my soul, when do we come together? Promises we made to our mothers that we would change, yet we are getting worse. What's wrong, my people? When will we break this curse? My brothers, put the guns down. My sisters, pick up your crowns. Stand over the crowd. Hating on each other ain't gonna cut it. Feeding off the negative when we are way under budget. We can't afford to keep killing our people. Civil Rights Movement, 2019, the sequel. To this day, we are becoming extinct. Wake up, my people. We gotta think. We gotta come up with a better plan. This is not how we are supposed to stand. We have forgotten what our forefathers taught us. Black lives matter, yet we continue to hurt us. So please, my kings and queens, pick up your crowns. Put the guns down. The time is now.
That was quite powerful. Next up is Delaney. Delaney was adopted from Russia when she was 4 years old, and she is 60% deaf, although you would never know it.
Hey, so this is my first time. I'm kind of nervous, if you can't tell. So I wrote this poem based on everything. I have 5 younger siblings, so I've been basically raising them for the last decade. So here it goes. Move on out, they told us. The rent's not paid, parents both lost their jobs. They could go insane. Hell, I could go insane. All of our things on the curb, carrying what I can gave me the spur. Too much to carry, 1 pillowcase for each of my siblings, none for me. They are out first, always. Where to go? Get down on that street, they said. People passing in fine business suits, as if we aren't here, the life is hard to bear. Beg for $1 to buy a meal for my family, you see. No forks or knife, man, this is crude. The sun is setting, it is night. My fight has just begun. I pray I won't freeze before it is through, although I wish my life was done.
Excellent. Next we have Kevin Reynolds. Kevin is a lover of jazz. All right.
Hello. Yes, I'd like to dedicate this to a young lady, the woman I love, Shonda Wilson, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. Here goes. Amid sparrows and spirals of fallen dead leaves, I pace and I ponder among the great trees. Am I destined to live, never finding my way? The sparrows and spirals of dead leaves won't say. Yet the sparrow reminds me where God keeps his eye, and the leaves let me know there's a season to die. With this revelation, I fall to my knees amid sparrows and spirals of fallen dead leaves.
Very nice. Next up, we'll have Glenn. Glenn says that he was the class clown.
Hello, everybody. I was the first one to ask for a fact, so I didn't know what to go with, but I do have a better one. I have recently 2 new jobs. I've been working with CCH and Rocky for the last 2 years. Didn't know I had a problem until I really had a problem, and then I hope I got it fixed. So here we go. The homes I've lost as a child. Through horrors and loss, nothing was mild. After my trauma, nothing was right. Thoughts and learning, always a fight. Wasn't educated, never trained. My life depended on those who reigned. Social cues lost on who I was became the problem, emotions the cause. My mother was kind, though very blind. My only hope is a love that binds. My father never home, yet always there. The pain I have, I learned to bear. The thoughts I have are left to roam, if only a job in a place called home. Thank you.
Nice, man. Very nice. Next up, we'll have Sylvester. Sylvester is a self-described big mouth.
And she hit it right on the head, too. How y'all doing? Good evening, everybody. I see we got Breakthrough in the house. Give it up for Breakthrough Ministries. My name's Sylvester Miller, and as alumni of Breakthrough, because I myself once was homeless, I didn't actually know what creative writing was until I met Wayne Richards, and he comes over there because Breakthrough Ministries have a lot of programs going on, and one particular program is a Male Initiative. And Wayne Richards came over there one day and introduced us. I heard of creative writing, but he sort of like did a little piece where he put all these words together, and we had to just make this big, So 8 of these words right here come from pressure, persevere, prevail, peace. He put the word pair in there, protection, production, and productivity. So we had to all we had to look at these words and make something out of them. So this is what I came up with, this piece right here, this particular piece. It says, now a person should not feel any pressure in order to persevere, because in order for him to prevail, he must first have peace in his heart. He can eat a pear and relax and think about the protection that he needs in order to survive in this world. Because it's all about production before pleasure in order to reach positivity.
Very nice. Next, we will have Quincy. Quincy juggles objects, preferably no knives. Also, Quincy was shot 8 times in July and is alive to tell about it.
How y'all doing, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, youngest? I am just kind of, all right, just go with it. Here you go. They say, my heart is like a puzzle, but without you, I'm missing a piece. I need you to complete me. I need you to set me free. I sit and wonder sometimes about how I let the times we spent together die. I look in the mirror sometimes and ask myself, why? Did I have to be so stupid? The times we shared, I should have used it to my advantage instead of taking it for granted. I used and abused you, not physically, but mentally. I was too blind to see what you meant to me. When you cried, I laughed and thought it was cool. I was too stuck in my ways of living as a fool. Gave you everything you wanted and thought that was enough. But all you really wanted was my trust. And having my trust is definitely a must, because a relationship without trust is like a balloon when it busts. Nothing. Thank you.
All right, Quincy. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to our final performance, and it's from Rakaya. Rakaya is a published author. She has written an anthology of short stories and poetry named Dramatized. She is called the Literary Psalmist because she merges poetry with singing. Her stage name is Inferno.
Good evening. I really want to dedicate this piece to all the leaders of CCH. I want to dedicate this piece to my mom, to myself, who also have experienced homelessness. I want to dedicate this piece to those people who don't have a voice, those people that I saw while I was homeless. And I want to go like this. Nine months of pain, 9 months of shame, 9 months of birthing and falling, 9 months of hurting and calling. I won't complain. It was like the silence of a first trimester. Something was happening, changes, emotions were flared, hormonal imbalances. It was like the flutter of the second trimester. Somebody was moving. A great loss of oneself, gotta think of someone else. But the womb is growing. Help. I'm uncomfortable. I'm comfortable, she says. Now in the 3rd trimester, can't get no sleep. Body and mind transforming, the soul weeps. A new heartbeat. Eating for 2, will someone have mercy? Maybe you feeling blue. Eating from the garbage cans. Phew. Suck down the lukewarm drink, ate the cold food. Don't make no stink, cause the baby is full. Raging in the body like an unsatisfied bull. Being grateful, using mental tools, hitting spies. But the spirit cries. Bladder, uncontrollably so. Oh, restaurant nearby, have mercy, house of hope. Let her stay a while. Eyes closed, tears roll. Uncontrollable soul, she's out of control. It's not just her. He's been here way too long. Chill to the bone. Wanna go somewhere, screaming out a pertinent question. Where is home? A new season inside now. New problems arise. Lesser insurance, limited funds. However, endurance makes him run. Growing rapidly, emotionally on the run. It's time now. 9 months have come. Christmas, labor, bundle of joy, yet numb. Back to that old place, new responsibilities, adjusting, sleep deprivation, trying to embrace a forced yet diverse community, still being called a bum to the face. More than one type of cry through the night, different personalities fight. A summons for personal freedom, paranoia follows like a needy friend. Hinge. A program raised up, and just like that, a new plan. Placed wherever the assistants can. They say it's nice, it's big enough to expand. But like a soap opera, the community haven't changed much. I'm still in the ghetto, no child's motto, just a crutch. Oh, my. Needing other services more than just paying rent. You realize it's a mental splint. Heart's dent, but yet we're sent. I'm standing up now, giving testimonies true. Gaining momentum, join the coalition too. Talking about homelessness, rights, and being that voice. Cause bring Chicago home. An adamant fight and a worthy choice. 9 months of pain. 9 months of birthing and falling. 9 months of hurting and calling. I won't complain. And that's that piece.
So can we give it up one more time for all of our participants? Thank you. Thank you. We will now, I don't envy you, audience. Now we will have Wayne Richard come up and do the vote. I know, right?
Now is not the time, right? Okay, so in our tradition, there is a slam aspect of each Horizon event, and we're at that point now where we have to choose the 2 best pieces. One of the hardest things that I'm on to have to preside over tonight, because it isn't my decision, it's all of our decisions, right? All right. Don't throw the weight on me, right? See my good friend back there, Bob, just laughing, right? Okay, so this is what I'm gonna ask folks to do. So everyone who read a piece has to come back up here. So that's how we started, so I'm just gonna ask people to come up.
I can't sit up there.
So maybe we just got a little bit of a
curve.
Yeah, curve. Yeah, don't just be in the back. All right. I'm gonna switch this chair over here. Taking up most of this. Okay. All right. Here we go. How about another round of applause for everybody?
Delaney. T.G. Tom. Juanita. Dr. Juanita Glenn. Sylvester. Rakaya. Okay, Sylvester, Rakaya, and Quincy.
Come on, Quincy, baby.
Everybody else can sit down. Thank you for your participation. Cheers. All right. Sylvester. Rakaya. Quincy. I think your time is up.
All right, thank you.
It's a tag cue. We got to break the tie, baby. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about Nate. Come on, Nate. I'm sorry. Get up here, Nate. Get up here. Nate, I hate to break it to you, but no. But sorry, Nate. Y'all give it up to Nate. Okay, one last time. First place, Rakaya. Quincy. Kiki Shepard thinks it's a tie.
We need a meal, right? I'm thinking, right? They both great winners, folks. It sounds like it sounds like a really close tie, so it's hard to call. Do we agree with that?
Yes.
All right, they're both first place winners tonight. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, so that is our official night of performance. But as a tradition of Horizons, I always ask folks, because often we get such great inspiration that people are just struck by wanting to do an open mic piece. So before we close, I just want to ask, is there any burning desire, anybody who's been doodling something in the back? If you'd like to come up, I'd ask you to come up now. All right.
Open mic.
Open mic, okay.
Ali.
You should introduce yourself.
everybody. Hey. My name is Ali. I'm a organizer and street outreach worker with Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, and I pretty much got my start there as a leader, just like a lot of you all. I'm gonna perform 2 poems. The first is called Realness, and the second is Giving In. What mattereth the color of your skin when you bend whichever way bloweth the wind? Spineless and dimeless, your reason very rhymeless. I must admit though, your performance of a human is timeless. Control, you told, your role as a lost soul. No longer searching, smirking at me because I'm hurt. For certain that your master will aid you in all things that truth forbade you. You switch sides when he made you, forgetting none shall save you. Maybe you'll see through the fog one of these days, perhaps when you lose it all and just gaze at the sky in awe of the realization it gave. Only when you are true to self do you have it made. That's realness. This one is called Giving In. We encounter so much that at times it appears useless. We shake our heads in self-pity, allow the thought to form, I can't do this. We want to believe we are strong, that we can tackle any situation, that nothing can overcome us, but it does. We feed our fears and they grow. Our fears then take over and soon our gait slows. It shows, though we pretend, being this way and that, always out to prove, ain't no sweat off my back. But underneath we cry, wonder why, and many more questions come to mind. We doubt and are crippled, eventually, in time. The chime ring loudly, and places to go won't be gone to. The things to do won't be done. We've ran and ran till we can no longer run. The earth revolves still, and yet here we sit. Still in the same situation, still pitching a fit. Clapping, singing, and dancing, having a good old time. Afraid to look within, afraid of what we'll find. A bunch of cowards, spineless people who are not fit to live. Standing for anything, falling for everything there is. Slavery completely to the rhythm of another's drum. Without action, what good is the song we shall overcome? What value is the bloodshed, lives lost for a cause? Betrayed by those it benefits, against this there shall be a law. Either you're the problem or part of the solution, lose or win. We gave in to make things begin, now let's give in to bring them to the end.
Juanita had another poem she wanted.
Thank you. All right, this one is called, I just wrote this when I was told I had to do this, so. This one is called Bring Chicago Home. As I walk along these city streets, I see people who just want to eat and sleep. People who just want a chance to live in a home without strict demands. People who have somehow become lost in a system without any cost. People who are human like you and me. People who just want to be free. These are people who are looking for help, and the doors keep closing because of greed and wealth. Yes. Blaming these people for the situation they are in, telling these people that they don't have a chance. So why is it so hard to get these people off the street? Because it doesn't affect you or even me? Until something happens to us to force us to stand in the rain. So who are we to judge these people we see shaking these cans? It's time for us to make these demands. It's time for us to take a stand. It's time for us to push our politicians. It's time for us to make them listen. So are you just going to keep walking by and stand there and cry, scratching your head and wondering why? It's time out for that, because they don't stand alone. It's time for us to bring Chicago home.
That was good. Bring Chicago home. We have two more that we're going to do, and then we're going to conclude. Evangelist Jackson.
Amen, amen. Let everybody give a hand clap. I just want to say, give yourself a hand clap. And give the one that the King of Kings and the Lord that made you a hand clap. I just want to say I bless the Lord on being in this environment right now. It's such a phenomenal time that we have in here, and I was just listening, and it was just touching my heart with the ones that said that they were homeless. And I started thinking, and I was saying, pondering with it in my mind, and I was like, well, Lord, they say someone can say something at the end of the program. What can I say? Can I give a word of encouragement? Or what is it about my life that I have not shared with many? And I want you to know that said you was homeless. The Lord brought to my mind that I was homeless before I was even born. Oh, glory. Just excuse me. Sometimes I have to say, Lord, thank you. At the time that my mother let me know that at the time that she had conceived me, it was an adultery, so therefore the man had to go back to his wife, and he had more children, and I was left with my mother. And my mother, the whole time of her pregnancy, she rejected me. And even during the time of the pregnancy, she told me that she tried 3 things to kill me. And everything that she tried, it didn't work against me, but it worked against her. But today, you all can see why it did not work. Because if it had worked, I wouldn't be here to tell you the rejection that I felt. So mother, be careful when you carry your children, how you think, how you feel, how you act. Because I always felt I was as being rejected. I never felt like I was wanted. And it was because I was rejected in the womb. And so I always had this love where anybody I see, I want to help. I want to see people smile. If you never had a new pair of shoes, I want to go get you a pair of shoes. I always was willing to do whatever I can. And I didn't know why I always couldn't fit in. Because God had a special room for me. God had a special place for me. My mother died 2004, first thing Valentine's Day that morning. And I thought, Lord, you came and got my mother, but he let me give her gift that night before. So I couldn't get mad because God came for his flower. So, I thank God he said that he loved her more than I ever could. So Valentine's is a love day. So I said, well, you came and got your love. Well, I thank you for sharing my love with her the night before Valentine's Day. But now that my mother's gone on, I find myself not feeling that rejection anymore, but I find myself always doing whatever I find good my hands to do. I see those in the wheelchair. I have friends, and they get jealous because I take to their mom more than they do. That's because that's the heart that God has given me. So when we speak of homeless, there are some of us that was homeless before we even came. God bless you.
We'll have one from Kevin and one from Quincy.
Wow, it's a tough act to follow. Thank you very much, Evangelist. Again, I'm dedicating this to my lovely fiance, Shawnee Wilson. I want her to know that she's in my heart, so she's always in my prayers. I was arrested by your beauty and held captive by your stare. I hardly even notice the moon that frames your hair. I stammer in mid-sentence when I look into your eyes, and I surrender wholly, bereft of alibis. No need to speak with counsel, for I am with no defense. It seems I can't control my urge to steal your fragrant scent. So guilty as charged I stand here, and bound I take my leave. But of this sentence I am grateful, for with love there's no reprieve.
She's the lucky woman. Our final performance will be from Quincy.
I
don't know when I'm gonna get the next opportunity to do something like this, so I'm gonna take advantage of it. You feel me? It's this one's short, simple, to the point. It's called Through. It says, would a bird be a bird if it didn't fly? Would an answer be an answer if it didn't tell why? Would a bee be a bee if it didn't sting? Would a choir be a choir if it didn't sing? Would a lemon be a lemon if it didn't taste sour? Would a clock be a clock if it didn't tell the hour? Would a ghost be a ghost if it didn't say boo? Would I be me if I didn't have you? No, because honestly, without you, my life is like this poem, Through.
I'm not exactly sure how I always end up right here, right after somebody really drops. It's just good timing, I guess, right? We're going to conclude our program for this evening. I want everybody to just give our group a round of applause. Ourselves. Thank you for coming out. I look forward to seeing you all next year. I just wanted to mention very briefly again that on the table here to my left, there's a series of pieces of art that were given to us from Dr. LaSavita through the work that she's done in our collaboration. So people are welcome to take a piece home with you. There's a board where you can just literally take one off the poster board, and then there are many on the table right there. Help yourself. So with that, I want to bid everyone a good night and see you next year. All right.